um, on a particular tool. So, like I said, we were reviewing some of the tools we've done before. So, in our review, we looked at the Google Workspace, right? In the review we did. So, the next set of review was supposed to be the some of the productivity tools like the digital collaboration tools. So we're supposed to be looking at or revisiting tools like Slack, Microsoft Teams, and Notions and all of that. So I was supposed to start Notion today. So I'm going to start with it. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to kind of like re-expose us to the Notion interface, right? Yeah, re-expose us to the Notion interface. Then in the in our next meeting, then we'll look at very detailed demonstrations. We'll do a lot of tasks on Notion, right? Okay. So let's dive in. Okay. One sec. Okay, so we're going to what I'm going to do today is I'll re-expose us to the interface. Let's just understand how the Notion environment works, how it is, everything we need to know about it. And then hopefully we have time to do this demonstration, but I don't know if that will be possible because like I said, this class is supposed to be for just 1 hour. Okay, so this is under it's supposed to be under um digital collaboration, productivity, and all of that, how to manage some of the tasks that you have, right? So what first of all, the question is what is Notion? Let me go back from the very beginning. So Notion is kind of like it's kind of like when you have a sketch pad or a sketchbook, right? And you wake up in the morning and you want to plan. You don't really understand what your day is going to look like. And then you start writing. Now, the thing about the difference between a sketch pad and a journal or a sketch pad and a notebook is that in a journal or notebook, you're restricted to just write your plan for the day. But with a sketch pad, you can write, you can sketch, you can draw, you can link things together. Like it just makes a lot of sense. So that's how Notion works. So Notion allows you to kind of like write, plan your activity, and to even collaborate, with your productivity, with to collaborate with your teammates rather. Now, the thing is, it's the way it works is this. It works with blocks. So what you're doing in Notion is like I won't say drag and drop. It's just click and select, drag and drop. So most of the things in Notion they're already predefined for you. You just have to manipulate them, edit them. It's kind of like a Lego box. I don't know, those people that are familiar with Lego boxes. Yeah, that's the way, or a Lego set. That's the way Notion works, right? So like every thing you do, every paragraph, every text you put, every image, every graph is kind of like a separate piece or a separate block that you can move around. So that's basically what Notion is. So it's kind of like a mini brain, for you to manage your task. So like I said, today we're going to mostly um, look at the 1 second, please. Yeah. So we're going to look at the environment, the way the Notion environment looks like. Okay. So with every tool that exists, especially when it comes to some of these tools, mostly web applications, you have to create an account. So in creating an account, they have the free account. So as usual, we're going to create a free account. Sorry about that. I had a call. Okay, so that's the environment. So you first of all create an account. So we're going to do that. So we're going to, I already have an account, so I'm going to log in. So if you don't have an account, just go ahead and say get Notion free and then you create an account. So I'm going to click on this login icon here. Sure. So like I said, I always recommend using a PC for most of these tasks, right? So I know some people, they've reached out to me that they are using mobile devices, smartphones. Yes, smartphones can do some of this job, right? Like Notion has a mobile app, but the am I still audible? Please, if I'm having a bit of a network issue, if you can hear me, just send me a reaction so that I will continue. Okay, all right, thank you. So, like I said, as usual, we would uh, create an account. So, I already have an account, so I don't need to create an account. If you don't have an account, just go to choose any of the options here. But if you don't have an account, you would have chosen the get Notion free, right? But since I already have an account, so I'm going to choose Google account here. I'm going to choose this so it would allow for me to use my Google account. Then you just use the normal sign in option and then word in. Okay, let's just give you some time. Apologies, network is kind of crazy today. Not sure why. Okay, so when you open it for the first time or the second time or the third time or whatever time, you if you open it for the first time, you get something like this. If you open it for like if you're logging in for like a continuation, if you have an account before, if you've done something before, it just takes you to the Notion workspace, right? But since this account is the new email address I created, so the new account, you have this home screen here, and it's telling you what you want to use Notion for, right? So if you're using it professionally, you can just use for work. If you're just playing around, or if you want to use it for your personal tracking or personal management, you can use for personal life. If you're using it for educational purposes, just choose for school. So let's do for personal life, right? And then I'm going to click on continue. Like all of these are not necessary. It's just for Notion to customize the way it looks, right? All of that. Then you can decide to download the desktop app if you want, but we don't want that. So let's just skip for now. Let's stick to using the browser. So it's going to take a few seconds depending on your network speed, and then it take us to the actual home page. So this is what we are looking for. So this is where we want to go, right? So now when you have this environment, it's divided into how do I explain it? It's divided into um should I say 5 pages? No, let me say three important sections, right? So three important sections. So those three important sections are your sidebar, right? Your sidebar very important. Then your so your top bar here, we call them the page tools, your page tools, right? And then we have the the editor. So here is where you have your editor. So this environment is your editor environment, this entire environment. Then we have the sidebar. This is kind of like the most important part of your Notion. You It's like your command center. So basically we're going to call it the command center, right? So it's where you do all of your manipulation and everything. Now, like I said, today is mostly we're going to familiarize ourselves with the environment, the Notion environment, right? Okay. So let's start with the sidebar. In the sidebar, it's where you navigate through everything that you have. So we have something called this top bar where you have your name. You're going to see Victor Eberichi's space. This is where we call it the workspace switcher. So this is called the workspace switcher. So this is where you can switch between workspaces, right? So if you have like multiple accounts, or if you want to create not even multiple accounts, one account you can switch workspace, yeah. So you can create like an entire kind of like when you're changing pages. So you open a page in your sketchpad and then you're done with that page. You want a fresh page, then you open to the next page. That's basically what this part is for. Right. So you can see that I have one workspace here, which is this. So I can create a new workspace. So with an account, which is this email address here, I can create multiple workspaces, right? So with an account, I can create multiple workspaces. So I don't know, I'm not sure how many workspace the free account can um, carry or manage. Now, in the workspace switcher, and decide to choose what you want to do with it. So now you can try to invite members, so people to collaborate with you on this um, workspace on this account. You can add a new account here. So if you want another email address, you want to use this fresh account, you can add that here. You can log out. It's kind of like this is where you manage your profile, basically, right? And then this way you handle settings and all of that. Then this way you handle preferences if you want. So now that's what this is called, the workspace switcher. So we're going to stick to this workspace. We don't want to create a new workspace. But if you want to create a new workspace, you just do add new workspace. This plus icon, then new workspace. You create a new workspace. So that is about the workspace switcher. Now the next thing we're going to look at here is the search. So the search bar is very important. So it's important because it's kind of like the fastest way for you to find something. So if I click on search and I want to look for anything, I just type C to check for all of the possible things that exist in Notion. If I've created a database that starts with T, I get that here, all of that, right? So this is where you can quickly search for anything you want. So if you want, I don't know, I don't know, all of the things that start with, okay, there's nothing with you there. So here is search. This is where you look for anything, like the fastest way to find something. That's this search bar here. Mm, That's it. So what I think there's a shortcut for it. I'm not sure. I think it should be Control F, Control P. Let's try Control P. Yeah, with Control dot P. If you're using a Windows computer, Control plus P, you search. If you're using a Mac or a MacBook, is Command plus P. All right. So then you should press the escape button. You can leave the search bar. Right. Now another thing here is the inbox. So if you're collaborating with people, you can send messages, right? So if I click on the inbox, I can see what message I've gotten from my collaborators, but I don't have anybody collaborating right now. So that is the inbox. Now, this is meetings. If you want to, discuss with um your teammates. So if you've added teammates here, you want to discuss them. This is where you create if you have meetings already scheduled, right? And you can do that here. So that's why Notion is very, very powerful. So let's go back to the home. And so we're in the home. Now, another important thing is where we can do, you're going to see something called the page list, right? Let me look for the page list. Okay. So the page list. Now you see that we have, these are called page lists, private and shared, right? That's what we call page list, private and shared. That's, we call them the page list. So what it does is that now in the private pages, this is where just you, only you can see and access. Then in the shared page list, this is where your teammates can, they can see and work with you. So if you've added people to your workspace, right? If you've added people here to your workspace, so you invited team members, right? Then you just come here and then you can create um if you click on start collaborating, then you can start creating, any page you create here, then your teammates, people that you've added to your workspace, can see that and work on it. But if you've added people to your workspace, they don't have any access to your private page, right? So that's another thing there. Now, the next thing we're going to look at is the trash. That's another important thing, the trash. So now the trash is where, if you deleted things like databases, if you deleted databases, or if you deleted pages, or if you deleted content in a database or in a table. Now, the thing about Notion is, if you delete something, it doesn't just delete entirely, it goes to trash, right? It goes to trash, provided you want to, or perhaps you want to retrieve that information, you can easily go to trash and then restore. But if you delete from trash, then everything goes. So that's the way Notion works. So if you delete something, it goes to trash. Then we have marketplace. So the marketplace is kind of like where you, if you have, you get add-ons or you get tools that you can add to your Notion workspace. So this is where it gets advanced. You know, you want to add things, maybe an AI agent, or just kind of like where you purchase additional tools, additional applications for your tool or for your Notion environment. Then we have my task. So if you have any task here, it's going to be able. All of these are not like, they're not very important. Now you have Notion Mail, Notion Calendar, Notion Desktop. Now these are tools that Notion provides already, right? So Notion Calendar is kind of like when you have Google Calendar. If you worked with Google Calendar before, it's kind of like how Notion Calendar works. Like a calendar you can just create, and to help you add reminders. So if I click on Notion Calendar, it's like another product of the Notion community, right? So I can just download Notion Calendar and then I'll start doing whatever it is I want to do with my calendar. The same thing with Notion Mail. Notion Mail is kind of like it's like Gmail, Yahoo Mail, but it's just owned by Notion. So all of this, we don't need this right now. Now, so that's all about it for the um the sidebar, which is our command center, right? So here, like I said, back to the meetings. So if I connect my calendar, I can create a meeting, schedule a meeting, and 1 second, I can schedule a meeting, and then it's just going to add it there. 1 second, please. Okay, so now that's it. Now the next part of the Notion environment that we're going to be looking at is now um inside of the uh sidebar. There are very important things we want to look at. This, let's start with the private. So let's say you want to work on your personal, like a personal thing you want to do, right? That is here. Now, in this point, you have, so inside of this workspace, you have something called pages. So a workspace, like I said, is like your sketchpad. Your sketchpad or your journal has pages. So you can create multiple pages, as many pages as possible, in such a way that they don't interfere with one another, right? So I have this workspace here, so I can create new pages. So if I want to create a new page, I'll just come here, this private here, and then I'll do add a page. So now, depending on where you add the page, shows where the page is. Okay, how do I explain that? It doesn't make sense. So if I want the page to be like an independent page that exists in my workspace, I'll just come here. So if I want to be in the private page, right? So I'll just come here and click on this plus icon here, and then it will be like, if I click on add a page, I can name the page my new task, right? Hold on, my new task. So if I add, okay, so you see that my new task is added as an independent page in my private, should I call it my private page list or my private folder in this workspace here, right? But if I want to add a page inside this my new task, all I just have to do is come now in the my new task. I'll just click on this plus icon here, and then so if I add a page here called inside my new task, hold on, you see that it gets added, right? It gets added. So I have my new task, and then I have a page called inside my new task. So that's kind of like how this thing works, right? But then you, so another important thing to know is that inside the page, so let me connect it back to the sketchpad. Now, in a sketchpad or in a notebook, you have a page. Inside that page, anything can be inside the page. It can be your diagrams, it can be your calendar, it can be your text, it can be any information. So what it means is that inside this page, a database can exist here. Inside this page, a calendar can exist here. Inside this page, a Google Sheet can exist here. Inside this page, a chart can exist here. So that's basically what it means. Now, this page that is inside this my new task page, inside of this page, a database can exist here. A task, a a calendar can exist here, or a chart can exist here. So that's kind of like how it works, right? So now I'm in the so let me stick to my new task. So I'm here in my new task, right? Now I can, now this is, like I said, this is the main area, main editor area. So this is like the most important and most powerful part of the Notion environment. So this is where all of the magic happens. So let's start with a bit of edit, a bit of you know. So you can add icons here. I can decide to say, oh, I can decide to add an icon. Any icon I want. So let me use I don't know. Yes, so this is an icon. Then you can add the cover picture for it. Then you can add a comment. That's another interesting thing. So that a comment can be this is my task for today. All right. Okay. So now I can see that, oh, I just added a comment, right? So if this page was inside the shared folder, right? So team members can add comments and then I'll see. But for now, I'm the only one that can see the comment. So that's an interesting thing about it. Now, so there's another important thing that you need to take note of. So most of the things in Notion, they kind of like they stay hidden unless you hover your mouse pointer on them. And those things are like the most important thing. So the most important things rather. Now, one of those things, should I call it I don't know, the edit block. So now if I come to this task here, this page, right? No, this one. Okay, yeah. So I'm done with this one here, right? So if I come to this page that exists inside of my task page, you're going to see something here called this thing here. See these six dots here. So what this six dot does is that it helps you to open a menu, or you can like move your page, arrange your page if you want to. So if I click on this, you can see the menu. So now in the menu bar, I can decide to do whatever it is I want to do with this page, right? So I can decide to I don't know, color this page green, the text should be green. So this is where you kind of set preferences on the page. I can try to add an icon if I want. I can decide to rename it, right? I can decide to turn it. So originally, this page is a text. I can decide to turn it to a heading. I can decide to turn it to a to-do list. I can decide to turn it to, I don't know, a database or a table, right? So this is where you do all of the manipulations, right? Okay. Then if I say turn this into a to-do list, it's now a to-do list. I just check, right? So that's basically what this six icon here is for. It's very important. You can also use it to add comments, and then you can also delete. So anything that has to be option, if you want to select option, so look for this six dots here. Right. So now if I want to add a page inside of this task or another task inside of it, I can just click on this plus icon here, see it here, and then I add something. I want to add I don't know, the text inside of it. So I'll just add a new and I hit enter. Right. So now this one is here, this one is here. Now they are all under my main page called my new task. So that's the way Notion works. So it's kind of like everything is a block or a set layered and it's like separate. So you manipulate one thing at a time. They don't interfere with each other except you connect them together. Right. So that's mostly what the Notion environment looks like. Now the I don't know if I'll call it the last thing, but one very important thing I'm going to talk about is the something called databases. Now the databases is very important. Okay, before I talk about the databases, there's something called the command icon or the command center. Now the command center is what I would call what you use to add function to your page, or to your page basically. So what I mean is the command center. So if I come here now, just observe that Let me even start from. So I want to create a new page. Let me create a new page. Now let me create a new page in this main page here. So I'm creating a new page here. So when you click on create a new page, you get this whole new environment. You have to put the page, add the page name. So I'm going to call it let me call it new page name, right? And then I hit enter. Now if you hit enter, you're going to see something called press space for AI or / for commands. So like I said, AI helps a lot. So if you press space, you can decide to tell AI what you want, right? So whatever it is that you want AI to do for you, you just type it and AI will do it. You're free to do that, right? But if you press the / you get this pop-up with a list of drop down. Now what it means is that it helps you specify what you want that page to represent or what you want to add to that page. So now, originally, this page is a header, is a text. So if I press the /, I get things like text, heading 1, heading 2, heading 3. I get table, divider, link to page, image, audio. So anything I want to add to this page, this is where I add it. Now, if I want to add a table, I just have to do /ta. So an ordinary table. So what I have here is an ordinary table. So by the time I click on table, I have a table that now exists inside my page called my new page, right? So I have this, I can call this table name, I can call date, sorry, date, I would say time. Okay, so I'll call this name 1, date 1, and time 1. All right. So I have a table that now exists in this page, right? So this is just the page. I can decide to add another thing to this page. Let me call this page. If I use the /, I want to add a what should I add? Let me add an image. So I'll just do image, and then I'll hit enter. So I can either upload the image from my local drive, or I just get it from, I don't know, from a link, but I don't think I have any image here. So if you want to upload an image, you just have to click on upload file. So you click on upload file and upload to take it to your, hold on a bit, sorry, 1 second. Sorry, upload here, selected, then upload the file to connect to your let's see, do I have any image? Do I? Let's see. Okay, let me open this. So yeah, so I have this image here. So this is how you can upload files on your Notion if you're trying to do that. So you can add image here. Now, when I'm done with this, now remember this is still in this page. All you have to do is to come to just below it, click on any space below it, and then I do the /, I can decide to add audio, I can decide to add anything, I can decide to even add, hold on, let me see, I can decide to add a chart, right? So let me add a donut chart. Now, this is where it gets interesting. In adding a chart, so it gives me, now in adding a chart, you have to connect that chart to a data source. So now that is what we're supposed to do in our next class. I want to see how we're going to connect our Notion to things like Excel, to other data sources. So if you have like an existing data source, maybe a CSV file, you just import that CSV file. You can visualize. If you've already created a database, it will just you can just add or link that data source. You already have it existing there. So we don't have, I don't know, to-do list. I have one here, but really important. So let's see what happens. Okay, let's see. Now we have this. So if you look at this, you're going to see not started and done. Now let me show you something. Now if I come to private and then if I open my to-do list, you're going to see I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now these are an already existing database in my Notion environment, right? So anywhere I try to create a chart, it detects that a database exists. So now in this to-do list, I have that, oh, I've done this, I've done that, I've done that. So let me just do it from beginning so that you understand. So we're back to, hold on. We're back to my new page. I was working with this, my new page name, right? Okay, good. This is new page name. So let me create a simple, let me add a page inside here called, now in this page, let me call this page inside that page, right? So I'll call this inside that page. Okay, inside that page. So I'm in inside that page now. Now in inside that page, I want to create a database, right? So in inside that page, I'll come here below inside that page, or I can just simply hit enter inside that page. If I click on the /, I'll just say add a database. So table view, remember, it's always important. Let's use this table view or list view. Okay, let's work with list view, right? So let's call it our to do list. What the hell am I spelling? Okay, our to do list. Now let's add some to dos. Let's say go to eat. Let's just make it simple. Eat, rest, sleep, then work. All right. Okay. So hold on. Let me turn this page into hold on. Control Z. Okay. Okay. Let's call this. Let's just call it a text. So let's call this. Let's turn it a to-do list. Eat. Right. So I'm going to turn this to a to-do list. Yeah. Okay. Sleep, rest, work. Okay. So like I said, these 6 dots. So I'll turn this into a simple to-do list. I'll turn this into a to-do list. And then I'll turn this to a to-do list. Okay, so let me tick this one as done, tick this one as done. All right, so going to exactly. So that's what we have here now. Okay, so this is a simple to-do list that is already existing. Okay, so let's see. So if I add a to-do list here, now I'm going to call this run for okay, all right, okay. So now if I come back to this new page name and I come here, I'm going to come here and then I want to add something called a chart, another chart. Let's say a chart. Let's add a horizontal bar chart. Okay. So it's a free account, so we can't use more than one chart. But basically, if you want to create a chart, you just use the sec. So basically, if you want to use a chart, you just use the forward slash, and then all of these commands will come out for you. Then another important thing that exists in Notion that is very important, that is going to be key for the demonstration that we'll be doing when next we meet, is the database. Very, very important. Very, very important. Now, in that database, if you want to automate your task, if you want it such that um, each time you want to do something, it gets stored somewhere, and then you can retrieve that information instead of having to, let's say you want to create a to-do list. You want it such that, okay, when this list is done, you should mark done. So you have to store all of those tasks or all of those activities in a database, and then you now fetch those databases. If you want to visualize, if you want to visualize or do anything, your visual would go to your database and fetch that information. So now database can exist in so many ways, but the very and most important one is the table view. So remember last time when we had in the Excel class, I said a database is just basically a connection or a combination of tables, right? So if you just hear table, just know that it's database. If you hear database, know that it's a combination of multiple tables. So multiple tables make a database. So if you want to start or create a database in Notion, just type table. Now in table, you're going to see three things: table, table view, and table of contents. Now your focus should be in table and table view. But table, you see that it's just ordinary table. It's not a database, it's just an ordinary table for where you just put in some bunch of information. But table view is what is important. It's database. That is where you can add functions. So if I click on table view, so I've added a new database. So if I was going to create a to-do list, this is where I would do it. Create a new database, I'll now add what I want to do. So what do I want to do? Let's call it, this is the name of the task I want to do, and this is the property. So in that property, let's call it let's call it let's call it status. No, sorry. Let's call it, I don't know, intent. Crazy. But now the property of this intent, let's set it as status. Then let's call this due date. Due date. And let's call it in, let's put it as date. So what do I want to do? Let's say I want to sleep. I want to work. Then I want to eat. So those are the things I want to do. So automatically, my database tells me that, oh, no, I've not done any of these things except I specify otherwise. So let's say I want to sleep. I've not started sleeping. I want to work. Oh, I've started working. Let's say I'm working right now. Eat. Let's say I've finished eating. So you've set it. Now, when the due date? So I mean, there's no due date for sleep. Or I mean, so we have. Let's say you sleep by 27th of May, right? So yeah, let's set it as that. And then the work is today, so it's 25th of May, we're doing it. And then eating was yesterday. Let's say we ate yesterday. So we've set the date for all of this. Very, very important. Now, another important thing that exists, how do I view these dates? So I'm going to come here below, just below here, you're going to see something called, I'll press this forward slash, and then I'm going to write to a calendar, the calendar view. Hold on. Calendar. So you see calendar view. Now in calendar view, I want to link this calendar to an existing database. So you're going to see that add or link data source. So let's see. What do I have? What? Oh, I didn't name this database. Hold on 1 second. I didn't name this database. Let's call this database my task. Okay, that's what we'll call it. All right. So hold on. Yes. Sorry. Let's. This is easy. Okay. So I'm going to create. The, all right. So let's say I'm creating a new database. Let's delete this. Oops, I couldn't. Let's delete this entire database. I don't want to see it into the trash. Okay. All right. So come here and see calendar view. In calendar view, what am I looking for? I'm looking for um my my task. So you see that I have my task here. So if I click on my task, you see that, hold on. Oops. No, 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 no. It's not what I want. Let me delete this. Okay. So I'm going to come here, calendar view, and then I'll look for my task, this. Okay. Into existing data source. Okay. Okay. So you can see that now that we've done it, you can see that I have this task here already existing. I have eat, it takes me to the eat activity. I have work, takes me to the work activity. Then I have sleep, it takes me to the sleep activity. So that's how you can. So now you see that we've created the database, my task, and then we can begin to view all of this or extract the data from all of this, right? Now, another important thing is you can set reminders here. If I want to set a reminder, let's say for something that done, I've done. So let's say in this one, I've done, I'll click on this date and I'll click on remind on the day for events. See that it shows red that, oh, there's going to be a reminder, but we're done with this. So if you choose a task that you've not started, let's say tomorrow, and then you set a reminder, say on the day of event by 9 a.m. So you can get reminders in two ways. You can either get it as a desktop notification, provided you're connected to the internet at the time, or you can get it as an email notification. So Notion will send you an email that, oh, you have this activity by so and so time. So that's how Notion works. So this one is red because it's like the deadline has already were there already, and then we have this, it's blue because we're yet to do it. So that's basically how Notion works. So these are some of the things that exist in Notion. So very important tools that we're going to be looking at on the go is we're going to work a lot with these six I don't know, six dotted icon. We're going to work with the so this space very important. So if you click anywhere on this empty space, you can just anywhere you click, you just see this press space or AI for AI or forward slash for command. So with commands, you can do anything you want to do. It's just that easy. So the thing about Notion is you can decide to work on a single page, or you can decide to work on multiple pages and then connect them together. So for simplicity and ease, most times I prefer people to work with a single page, right? So it just makes it very simple. But for professionalism, you create multiple pages depending on how complex the task is or the thing you're trying to do is. So that's basically what it is. So what we've seen or what we've covered today is how the environment looks like. So I'm going to review it. Let me go back and review everything that we've done. So like I said, this is the sidebar, the second most important part of our Notion environment. And this is the main editor area, the most important part of our Notion environment, right? Now in the sidebar, this is where we can create our workspace. Trying to retrace it so that we can get it very well. So by the time we start doing demonstrations, nobody will tell me that, how did you do this? How did you get to this point? I just want us to understand this environment. Although not everything, but the most important things that we need. So this is where I can create a separate workspace if I want to. I want to add team members. I'll just click on the invite. Let me do that again so that you see. If I come here, I come to this workspace, I click on invite team members. I'll just put the email address. Let me put another. I have another email address. I'll just do Victor. Sorry, Victor 080@gmail.com. Right. So that's it. And then this person gets added. Right. So I can try to specify the role. Is the person a workspace owner? If the person is a workspace owner, the person can just manipulate any settings. If it's just a member, they can't change workspace settings, but they can do other things there. With a restricted member, they can only see all of the changes the effect. So you can set rules. When it comes to rules, I think we talked about that in the Google Workspace or Google Drive, where you specify roles, right? So I've added this person, and all I have to do, I can try to add a note to the invite. So if I click on send invite, they get an email, right, from Notion with a link that will connect them to this workspace. So by the time they click on that link, if they don't have an account, they'll create an account, and then they are part of this workspace. And then they can manipulate and do whatever it is they want to do. And then we can collaborate. So I'm not inviting anybody now. Maybe in our next class, we'll do all of that. We'll invite ourselves, and then we'll collaborate together, do everything hands-on. Everybody work together, seamlessly. Now, that's it. Now you can search if you want to search for anything. So now that we've created some databases and all of that, I want to search for something specific. So I'm going to search for it. If I search for it, I can see that, I have something called it in a particular page. If I click on it, it takes me to that page, right? Exactly, I'm there. So that's what this search bar does. It's very important. It helps you to, with ease, navigate through your environment or specifically look for a keyword or something. If you're looking for a particular page, maybe depending on if your project is becoming very complex and you can't keep track of all of the pages you've created or all of the databases you've created or all of the contents in your database, but you have like a keyword idea in your mind, you can just search for that word and then take it to that information you're looking for. Right. Then the other important one I said is you can create meetings on Notion and then have meetings, all of that. You do that here. Now, we now looked at the page list. So we have 2 pages. In fact, let me call it 3 pages: the recent, the private, and the workspace or the shared. Now, the recent is basically any new thing you do, it just goes to the recent. If you want to easily look for what the most recent thing you've done. So you see that we created a task called sleep. So it just comes as the most recent. So we're not really focusing on this. Now we have the the private page, which is here, and the shared page. So if I've already added somebody in my workspace, the person can only manipulate and see the content. So private remains private to me as the owner. But if I add somebody as a workspace member, a teammate in my workspace, then, and if I make the person the workspace owner, so the role that I've assigned to that person, then the person can have access to private workspace, private page rather. So my private page, this is the part where I just want to do, I want to create pages, I want to create tasks, I want to manage inventory, I want to manage my financial record just for me, just for personal purposes. I don't want anybody to see it. So you work with in the private repository. Let me call it repository, the private page. So you can create as multiple pages as you want. You can create um page a page inside a page, right? So you can do that. And then another important thing I said was this plus icon and this ellipse icon here. So the plus icon is if you want to add a new page. So if I want to add a new page, fresh page in the private folder, I'll click on the plus icon here. If I want to add a new page inside a page, I'll navigate to that page name and click on the plus icon attached to that page. That is it. Now, if I want to manipulate that page, maybe delete, duplicate, do whatever it is I want to do, I go look for these ellipses here, these three dots here. If I click on the three dots, you see things like add to favorite, rename, duplicate, move to trash, I don't know, whatever it is you want to do, open a new tab, open inside peak. So all of those interesting things you want to do, you can do that here. So that's another important thing that exists in the sidebar that I'll be working with um on regular. That's for the private page. The same thing applies to the shared page. Now, this is only possible if you've added a team member, right? So if I click on a new page, so let's say I don't have anybody here, so let me just call this page new shared, right? So let me just call new shared. Okay. All right. Mm, okay. So let's see. Yeah, full access. Let me publish speech. Uh, okay. Right. So you can publish it such that your other people can see. So if I share the link of this page, so if I do this link, anybody that clicks on this link would have access to that particular page, whatever it is that I have there, all of the charts, all of the database, all of the information is there that the person would have access to it. So whilst it's opening, so you can see that I have a new shape. So it makes sense. It looks like you're creating a. You're familiar with WordPress or some of these website builders like Weebly or Wix. That's how most of those things work. Drag and drop. It's kind of like an API. So now that is it. Another important thing that I talked about is the trash. So anything I delete. So if you observe, I deleted. So hold on a bit. I think I deleted some things. Okay. Yeah. You should inside that page. Hold on. Hmm. Trying to see all of the things I've deleted. Not here. Not here. Not here. Okay. They're not here. So nothing. Nothing is here. Interesting. So that's it, the trash. So if you delete anything, it goes to trash. And then the Notion apps, these ones are extra features that Notion has. If you want it, you can get it, but it's not necessary. Now that we're here, another important thing, like I said, is the editor part. Now, the editor view is this center part here, this very huge area, and it's like kind of like the most important area, right? Here is where you do all of your visuals, you add pages, you create database and all of that. This is where you do all of those. So let's say we want to do something. Let's say from our next meeting when we want to do an actual demonstration, we want to create a simple demonstration. We'll just create a new page. So I'm going to go to my private folder here. So I'll click on my private folder and then I'll create a new page. Very important. So if I create a new page, come here, create a new page called new new space. Let's call it new space. That's what we have. In this new space, you can do whatever it is. I want to. I can add an icon, add a hover. Now, very important thing is this six dot here is where you can manipulate this page and do whatever it is you want to do. Now, in this new space, a page can have a function. Like, what is that page actually doing? Is that page a header? Is that page just containing text, like the information about your, your workspace? Is that page a database? Is that page a table? Is that page for charts? So this is where you specify the role or the function of a page. So if I come here and then I press the forward slash, I cannot specify the role of this page. What am I adding to this page? What is this page about? So is the page my calendar? Is the page my um charts? Am I adding charts to this page? So all of those, that's what I'm doing here. So that's basically what the Notion environment is, and that's kind of it. So by the time they meet, it will just be demonstrations all through. So like I said, our class is supposed to be for an hour, right? So I'm going to drop uh I'm going to drop the task that we'll do, right? And then an actual note for this. So some people sent me a message about the Excel class. So I also drop. I'm compiling a note, like an actual material that has step by step for most of the demonstrations that I've done. Right, I'll do that. Then the Otter AI class, the video was not made available. I'm working on the material for it so that you can practice alone. Right. So that's basically what we're looking at today. Right. Then when next we meet, we'll just kick off with the demonstration and then move on to other tools. Are there any questions? Our time is already up, actually. Okay. All right. So, like I said, this evening. I'm going to drop a task for us to do with maybe with from the previous ones we've done, previous tools we've done. I've just dropped a task that you can practice with, right? From the, I don't know, the Microsoft tools, the Google Workspace, the data analysis that we've done, some of the other tools. I'll just drop some tasks that we can do with the time. So yeah, I can see someone's hand is up. Your question is unmute and ask your question.
Okay, good evening. Can you hear me?
Good evening, I can hear you.
Okay, I had wanted to ask a question in regards to the Excel spreadsheet assignment. I think on the data sheet, it's
Okay.
about three different what's this called, workbook to work on. Are we working on the three, or we are taking one to work on? Then are we creating
Okay.
pivot table for each?
All right, all right. So ideally, you're supposed to choose one sheet. So one sheet is kind of like your data set. Then with that one sheet, you create a pivot table for it and then create your dashboard for it. But if you have the time, you have the capacity, you can work on the three. There's no strict rule that says you have to do the three or not. So just ideally you're supposed to choose one, but if you want to work on the three, go right ahead. So what it means is that for the three, you're going to be creating three pivot tables, like three separate pivot data, and then three separate dashboard. I mean, but if you want to juxtapose everything together, go right ahead. There's no problem. It's all good. I hope you got the response. Thank you. I can see another hands up. Uche. But please, our time is actually up. Just ask a question so that I
I
would.
can barely hear you. Maybe it's my network or something.
Okay, you didn't hear the teaching for today. Hello.
Sorry, Mr.
I don't know. Maybe it's network from your end.
Victor,
Like
I
I said.
can't hear you at all. I don't know.
Oh, I'm sure it's network from your end because I think I was audible enough. At least some of our um fellow comrades in the meeting can attest to that. I think I was audible, but that notwithstanding, like, but
Okay,
did
I
you
hear
get
you. Sorry.
all of the things I talked about, the whole notion stuff, all of the mumbo jumbo? Did you hear everything?
Yes, yes,
Okay,
yes. Yeah, I
okay,
did.
that's
I
a
did.
relief. So, do you have a question, specific question, or you just wanted to tell me that you didn't hear?
Um, Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Yeah, sir. It's about the ClickUp, that the one that is similar to this notion.
Okay, yeah, click up,
That's
yeah.
so is that one is a little bit complex. I don't know, and I've
Eh,
watched the video. See, I'm
okay,
not still getting the stuff very well.
okay, all right, that's no problem. So, like I said, we are done with introducing new tools. So I'm reviewing all of the things we are doing, right? We started with the Google Workspace, and then we stopped because from our curriculum, we're supposed to do data analysis. So that was why we kind of like, stopped a bit. So, but now we're revisiting all of the tools that we've done, right? So by the time we're done with Notion, the next tool should be the others. Um, ClickUp, Otter AI, Trello. We're not doing Trello, Otter AI, and so on. Like, so what it means is that next class, obviously, we're going to be looking at ClickUp and all of that. Some of the things we did previously, the basics, we're going to look at more interesting things to see how we can further make ourselves understand it better. The So in the chat, somebody said, okay, the video for Notebook LLM and Otter AI. Yes, like I said, the video is not yet available. I'm particularly sure why it's not available, but I'm working on the material for it, right? That detailed everything, demonstration I did step by step, right? So I'm working on the document, so it should be ready soon. It's almost ready. By the time it's ready to be dropped on the platform. All right, thank you very much. So, all right. Thank you and have a wonderful evening. My time is already up. Okay, just one last question. Mr. Ridwan, please go ahead with your question.
No, sir, good evening.
Good
Thanks for
evening.
this wonderful presentation this night. So, my question is that concerning your write-up, like coming up with a guideline or on the author area and the likes, I want you to
Yeah.
help us to add the last class whereby we make use of Excel.
Okay,
How
you mean the data analysis class?
exactly, sir? So, help us to work on that as well, in
All right.
addition to what you are working on.
Noted, no problem. Now I'll add that. I'll add that.
Thanks, sir.
Like I said, everything will be revisited. Thank you very much and have a wonderful evening.